Hi, my name is Sandy Tinsley, and this is my Schoology page on units of measurement. I start with colorful folders with all about me, getting started, general information, and then their introduction page. They also have a chat room that they can go to and resources that they can use during the entire lesson. And they have a Schoology library of how to use it, and then my references. My references, they can reference at any time, and it'll take them to any of the videos if they need to. I link them right on up. But let's get to my main part, and that's the lessons to the unit. And they start with a pre-assessment, and in their pre-assessment, we can hit the preview here, and take a look, and I write in there, answer the questions the best that you can. You may not know all the information. This is a pre-assessment that will help you with your goal setting. There are 10 multiple choice questions. Once they take that, they will go right back to the goal setting. The goal setting is in a white folder. They'll hit the goal setting page. They'll hit the link, and the link says make a copy. They'll hit the copy of the goal setting page. And the goal setting page says, look at the pre-assessment, what was your score, and what will you need the most support with in this unit. Rate a goal for measurement unit, explain how you will reach your goal in the box below, and share it with me. So they'll write their goal here, and they'll explain how they're going to reach their goal. And I gave them some examples of things they might want to add to it. Then they'll submit that to me. Once they've done the goal setting, they're headed right into the lessons. My lessons are set up with where they understand with the focus, the vocabulary, and the Common Core that they will need. And then they move right on to a Khan Academy video, and they will write something that they noticed or wondered after completing the video and the practice pages, and respond to 2 peers' noticed and wonders in their comment box. Then they'll move right along to a group work. Now, this unit lends itself to group work because they're using manipulatives and they're going around the room. They're going to find objects they could measure using a meter, a decimeter, a centimeter, and a millimeter, and they'll put it in their discussion post of what they found with their group. After they do that, they're going to do an individual assignment. Their individual assignment, I have given them an example of what I want and the appropriate units. Their actual assignment, they'll make a copy. And the copy says, add 5 items you would measure. Make sure you have an example of each term below. Find pictures that you would measure to the nearest centimeter, millimeter, meter, decimeter, and kilometer. So I have also included an example, and my example is here for them. I would measure this quarter to the nearest centimeter, and I would measure the distance from Delaware to New York in kilometers. So hopefully that will help them. I also have a rubric here, 8 being identified 5 different metric units of length, and they successfully got the extra 2 points for successfully turning it in to me correctly. Moving on, after they do their individual assignment, they'll go on to a video and practice using a quiz there to see how they're doing. If they're doing well, they'll move on to metric prefixes. And in the metric prefixes, they're going to look at the prefixes, and they're going to talk about 4 prefixes in their post and how they make connections with the prefix to what it actually means, like kilo meaning 1,000, or milli meaning 1,000, and deci meaning 10. Smaller. So 1,000 times smaller than a meter, and this is 1,000 times larger than a meter. Making just different observations with the prefixes, which will carry out throughout this unit. Then they will go on to their exit ticket. This exit ticket is worth 10 points, and one of the things that in my grade book, anything that's in my grade book that is worth 10 points is something of high value of me that will go actually into the eSchool grade book. Anything you see here that's 100 points, which is my final, or anything that's 10 points, that means it will go directly into my eSchool. The rest will be just for me to evaluate. Let's move right along to lesson 2 lessons. In my lesson 2, again, I start off with the vocabulary and what they're to learn in the Common Core, going on to a Khan Academy video where they're noticing and wondering and talking to 2 peers. And then we're into our group of 3 assignment. Our group of 3 assignment is with water and the computer, but it says read the directions below. Before beginning the steps, Be sure to set the Chromebooks aside, away from the water. When you're ready to recap, dump any of the remaining water and log back into your Chromebooks. Recap is a video where they videotape themselves. And what I asked them to do is to look for a container marked 100 milliliters and compare all containers with that benchmark container. I said be able to discuss if your container holds more or less than the benchmark container. There are going to be 6 containers to compare with the benchmark, and make sure each group member speaks clearly about 2 of the containers. So each in a group, 2 containers for each. I gave an example of what you might say while holding the benchmark container and the other container, because again, you're being videotaped. It'll say the benchmark container holds more water than this container. I know the container holds less than 100 milliliters since the benchmark was 100 milliliters. They'll hit the link to recap and follow the directions to recap their findings. The next part that they'll do, once they've done that with their peers and they videotape themselves, they'll be ready to do the first assignment, and they'll answer the questions about liquid volume in this assignment and submit it to me. Again, it's 5 points, something that I'm just looking at to see how well they're doing. The next thing they'll do is an essay ticket with Puzzle Penguin, and I have a rubric down here for them to work on. I also want you to notice that in here, I have clicked the button where they can't see anybody's post until after they post themselves. Going on to the next thing is mass. Now, this is within Unit 2, so I have them viewing a video, but they don't have to comment on a peers. And after they do that, then they can, in an independent group or in a group of 3, independently or in a group of 3, work with a paper clip and 1 gram, measure a few objects I have provided with you on the metric balance scale compared to the benchmark weight of the paper clip. Each student must make an independent submission. So whether they work in a group or not, they're making an independent submission. Example, the eraser was heavier than the paper clip. I know it weighs more than 1 gram. Moving right along to the next thing, it's time to play quizzes. Quizzes is a great game. They're going to copy, Control-C, and then they're going to hit quizzes, and they're going to go right into the quizzes game, Control-V, and proceed with the game. And I've already started the game. This should be fun. It's got questions for them to answer, and they seem to really like quizzes as a game, which would be the best metric unit to use to find the mass of a school desk. So once they get out of that and they've played their game, they move right along. And they move right along to an assignment that they work on mass, with mass. After they do that, moving right along, they move on to Lesson 3. Lesson 3 starts off the same as all the other lessons with the vocabulary and the Common Core, and then they go into a video. The video is the video that I did, which has a catchy song with it, and it leads them right into the next assignment because they're going to need to know how to add time, change time to minutes, hours to minutes, add the minutes up, and then change them back into hours. So in their individual assignment or a group of 3 assignment, it's up to them the way they do it. They're going to do a line plot. I give them examples of how they might survey their peers, what questions they might ask them, and then they'll create a line plot. I've made my line plot, and then I talked about how to interpret the line plot, because their whole thing that they need to do is in their recap, they need to interpret their line plot and do it on video and then comment to 2 of their peers. For example, I said out of 15 students surveyed, no student spent 0 hours reading each night, and then 2 students spent a quarter of an hour reading, or 15 minutes with a total of 30 minutes, or a half an hour a day. Again, just talking different ways how we talk about time, and that was definitely explained in the video I talked about. Moving along to a lapse time video, and they are going to notice and wonder and respond to 2 peers. After they do that, they will work on an assignment with time. If they do well with it, they'll move on to the next assignment, which is a Tim and Moby video and a quiz on elapsed time. And again, once checking their quiz out to see how they do, if they can move on to the next assignment. The next assignment is an exit ticket worth that 10 points. See how they do, they submit it to me. Moving right along to then lesson 4. Lesson 4, again, starting out with, like I said, the focus and the vocabulary. Moving from the focus and vocabulary to parts of yardstick in groups of 3, just like they did with the meter stick. And write a discussion post. The objects that you found, state how many yards, feet, and inches the object was. Once they've done that with their group members and feel secure, then they will go on and add media. And I said add pictures of objects that you would measure to the inch, foot, yard, and mile. Add pictures by hitting the add media button. You must add at least 2 pictures to the add media album. I did one as an example. I said paper clip about an inch, Mrs. Tinsley, and I put my name there so they will know how to add media. The next, after they've done that and they've seen everybody's pictures that they've added media to, they will move along to an assignment and submit it to me, and we'll see how they're doing with the assignment, worth 4 points. The next thing they'll do is an exit ticket. This is a 10-pointer, and see if they can convert 2 miles into feet and what that actually will be and what operation they use to do that. After they do that, they will hit fun with measurement. If they want to do some extra work with measurement, this is some games that they can play with that. And then after that, they are into their post-assessment, their quick quiz. This is worth 100 points. In this quick quiz, let's preview it real quick. And in this quick quiz, it says solve the variety problems, read the questions carefully. I have definitely different levels of Bloom's taxonomy questions where they are converting meters to centimeters, liters to milliliters. They're doing elapsed time. They're looking at equal pieces. They are looking at ribbon and changing it from inches to feet. They're looking at the chart here and comparing centimeters to a decameter, and again, comparing as a higher level thought process. They're comparing inches to yards. And then the last couple of questions, what unit of measure would you use to measure the top of your desk, and defending their answer, which again is another higher level questioning. What would weigh more, a paper clip or an eraser, and defend their answer. And they have a box here to answer it. And then lastly, what metric unit of volume would you use to fill a pool, defend your answer. Once they've done that, they'll submit that to me, and we're out of the lessons and all that is expected of them to do. They have many materials to help them through this. I hope this was helpful to you, and that ends my Schoology unit on measurement units. Thank you.